How far did you go in a game of truth or dare? One time a girl was dared to kiss me. Her quote was, "I thought we weren't doing kissing," to which I said, "Just so." I've gone as far as to cock block myself. I jumped 20 stairs almost 3 meters high, I think. I was stupid. I tore a ligament in me. I was sitting with my girlfriend next to me, and received the dare, "Kiss the person next to you." I made eye contact with her, smiled, and leaned in. As soon as I saw her close her eyes, I whipped around to my right, grabbed my friend's jaw, and kissed him square on the lips. Oh, she was mad, but oh, was it worth it. When I was much younger, two girls, my friend and I, were hanging out. We eventually started playing truth or dare, which eventually ended in the girls daring us to give them massages. Those manipulative brats. Got free massages out of it too, because there was no way in hell we were going to say no to girls lifting the backs of their shirts up and unhooking their bras. That was, sadly, all the further it went. I don't exactly remember what happened after the massages. I'm pretty sure the blood was directed away from my brain at the time. I think we may have been called down for dinner or something, or the girls had to go home or something of the sort. We were, as I said, young, at a friend's house for a sleepover when I was maybe 12 or so. Just me, my brother, and the friend playing truth or dare, really just dare, because truth is lame AF. We were doing the typical shit, making drinks out of condiments and other stuff to chug, putting household items in the freezer, etc. When I was hit with a fucking dare bomb. Sneak into his sister's room, who was a few years younger than us, go to her personal bathroom, take a shit, and leave it. Ninja shit? I'm down, so I left a monster log in her toilet, and sneakily waddled back out to the main bathroom to wipe. Can't have toilet paper obstructing the view of that beautiful brown python. The next morning, we woke up to screams. I got a very stern talking to, but I know both my friend's dad and my dad were laughing inside. Also, I was strictly forbidden from entering her room. Totally worth it. Was dared to go home. I went home. As a kid, my cousin always beat the shit out of me and was a terror. One day she dared me to go to the very top of the roof, and I'm not sure if she asked me to jump off or stand on the edge. I do not want to exaggerate, so I'll assume stand. I did, with my toes being in the air and the rest of my feet on the edge of the roof. I was 10 years old, and that was the first time I felt suicidal, despite having been generally happy and well at the time. So far, I drank salt pepper water, ate a wax candle, and ate a flower. Yes, a flower. Edit. One person asked how much I ate. How did you know I was at a restaurant? Edit 2. I wasn't joking when I ate the flower, and the candle I ate was supposed to be someone else's dare, but I did it for him. I was never dared to do anything particularly crazy, mostly because I was usually the innocent one, but a girl was once dared to kiss me on the lips. The darer was okay with a peck, and she said that since it isn't in a sexual context, there's nothing weird about it. I wasn't really paying attention, and suddenly this girl pops up and kisses me. Her lips were uncomfortably moist, and then goes back to sitting like nothing happened. I have to be honest, that was probably the worst kiss I've experienced. I had my pants down to my ankles with my underwear pulled down to expose my cheeks, and had to waddle for 2 blocks whilst having my shirt pulled behind my head and pinching my nipples. I have 2 kids now. Gave a blowjob to a long balloon. I was maybe 12. I put my dick in a VCR once. Deletes Reddit account. Not far. I typically bowed out whenever the dares or truths became just dangerous or hurtful. I never liked truth or dare because people aren't creative enough, and instead just go for the shock factor. Second base. With 3 boys. Dated a 50-year-old for a week. Almost got invited to play, once. I mean, it's kind of barbaric, but once I kissed a girl, guys. I played this a lot. Ate an entire watermelon, ate stick of butter, I female wore men's underwear and put a sock into it like it's a dick, then say stuff in a gruff manly voice. Someone else was dared to bite my ear sexily and ended up tearing part of it off. Body shots but using maple syrup. Masturbates in front of a group while fully clothed. Not a super big deal, but back in the day when I was only 13, I was playing truth or dare at my best friend's house. She had invited another friend over, who was a kid that bullied me at school. My friend pulled me aside and told me to my surprise that the kid had a crush on me and was planning to kiss me that night. I wasn't having any of that, because that kid was a prick. Would rip up my homework and get me in trouble, make fun of anything he could about me in a super mean way, and always interrupted me when I tried to talk. So this little asshole was bragging about how he was the king of truth or dare, and it came my turn to dare him. I dared him to drink a concoction that my best friend and I were going to make in the kitchen. He accepted. So we go into the kitchen and get a cup, and we're putting the grossest shit we can find in it. I'm talking pickle juice, cough syrup, cumin spice, red pepper flakes, sprinkles for texture, cottage cheese, peanut butter, beef stew, apple juice, vinegar. We even found some spoiled milk to put in it. It was gross as hell. We give the cup to him, and warn him that it's pretty damn disgusting. I told him that it was okay if he didn't want to drink it, because we did go a little overboard. Lol, he told me rudely to shut up and that he was the king of truth or dare, and he chugs this shit. A couple seconds later, he makes this awful face and runs out the door to the back porch, and pukes over the side of the railing. Needless to say, I did not receive any kiss that night. I guess it worked out, smiley face. It wasn't me, but on the way to a track meet in 8th grade, my friend and I were sitting in the seats about 3 rows from the back of the bus. Almost all of the guys on the team were behind a small team. I don't know if it was a dare or what, but I heard them saying something about getting hard, and when I looked over at my friend I saw one dude jerking off out of the corner of my eye. I tried to go across the row to my friend's seat so I didn't have to see that to talk to her, and I was yelled at by one of the coaches to go back to my seat. These guys would also occasionally sit kinda close to the front, and one would play porn and hold their phone out in the middle of the aisle for the rest to see. I haven't been in track since. I was playing a game a little bit similar to Todd called King's Game. If you want rules, just look it up. I'm not explaining them, and at this point it was just me and 2 other people, 1 girl, 2 guys. I was one of the guys, and it was basically watered down to the other guy trying to get the girl to do lewd acts with him like lap dancing, touching his crotch, and even have her flash him. The 2 were dating, so I guess it was okay? Most likely not in my opinion, and it was just weird. Probably about 19-ish at the time. Male. Got dared to lick chocolate sauce off a girl's bare tit. She wasn't into me but loved the attention, so I went for it. Another time I was dating someone at the time, and they dared her to give me a BJ under a blanket. She went for it and nobody actually believed it was happening. My one friend called bullshit on me and I swore, no dude, she's fucking sucking it right now, back off. Then his girlfriend shouted no fucking way and tried to yank the blanket off. I grabbed it back and leaned over to the side to hide our sinfulness, but I'm pretty sure they caught a glimpse. Edit, that wasn't even the most embarrassing one. The worst was when I was at a medieval battle reenactment event and everyone was hanging out around various campfires afterward. I got dared to walk past every campsite doing the Cornholio bit from Beavis and Butthead. I thought it was a fucking hilarious idea, but I was alone in this. So very alone. I've gone streaking before but never felt quite as naked as I did that night, walking up to group after group of strangers with my shirt over my head, and having them stare at me like disappointed fathers while I ask if they have TP for my bunghole. My friends invite me to a party that they were hosting. They were play truth or dare. It got out of hand when I of us got dared to run on one side of the roof to the other side. My friend fell for the house and broke an arm. We did not play truth or dare again. Leapt right off the cliff, best friends trying to figure out whether the other one felt like more than friends. We both did. 30 years later, still do. Someone licked my hair once. I was at a sleepover with a few friends, 4 guys and 3 girls. My friend's house has a huge yard, like 7 acres or something, so we set up 2 tents in the back. We started playing truth or dare, as you do at a sleepover, and then a raccoon showed up. I was dared to pet the raccoon. I did it. It bit me. What a surprise, right? Hurt like a bitch. In one round I was dared to run around the house naked and march in the US Northeast, and the next round I was dared to kiss another guy, both of which I did. You play to win the game. I dropped my pants to my ankles and hugged a stranger. Thank you, mister, for not decking 15-year-old me or calling the cops. I still cringe at that memory. Not exactly truth or dare, but my friends and I constantly rattle each other with this game we call odds. Essentially, you ask a person what are the odds you do? The action being literally anything the person says. The victim can give any odds of them doing it, like 1/10 chance, or 1/1000 chance. Whatever. Though our group, Hala season, generally never give odds over 1/10. There's a countdown after the odds are given, where the 2 players pick a number within the odds, so 1/10, the players pick any whole number from 1/10. If the players call the same number, the victim has to do whatever the action was or be forever roasted for it. In one particular case, a friend of mine lost a 1/5 odds of getting a full-force powerhouse spank from a wooden bread serving board. That thing was thick. The victim had a whole cheek bruised and couldn't sit comfortable for some time. We suffer. We suffer for the stories we can tell. Made out with a girl for the first time in 7th grade. Made out with others, but obviously the first time was the most eventful. Especially because I was a total dork and she pulled me in, later saying she thought I'd appreciate it. Which I goddamn did. What a patriot. Kate was a college girl in a middle schooler's body. I ate 5 spoonfuls of mustard, fit 16 grapes in my mouth and chugged half a liter of Coke. Jumped of balcony of motel room into pool while holding my friend's GF. One time I almost died after I was dared to sneak into my friend's dad's room and take his watch off his nightstand. He almost shot me and haven't been back since. I peed inside my neighbor car. All over the seats. Not proud, but it was 14 years ago. Was dared to order pizza naked and it was legend. It was what are the odds but close enough. It was December in Alaska and we were chilling in the hot tub and I got dared to with my friend go into the middle of the street, drop trow and do 10 push-ups, then run all the way up the street and ding dong ditch a house of this asshole kid while buck ass naked and streak the way back. Odds were 1/100 and I fucking lost. Great game at 2 a.m. though. Me and my buddies were playing truth or dare in 6th grade one time. I ended up jumping off a 20 feet snow mound. No got hurt, nothing exciting happened. But it was nerve-wracking at the time. You know what? I'll tell you anyway. I reinstalled Fortnite and didn't stop playing until I got a victory royale. I jumped off a building. Guys, 6 of us jumped off of the school roof after scaling the building in 4th grade. Resulted in a few minor injuries and warnings from the principal. I almost lost my best friend by giving the dare of everyone in the room to get naked. Farthest I went was licking my friend's soul for a solid 10 seconds. Made it to truth but not dare. I got in a loud fight with a girl who was having a panic attack. While it wasn't part of the dare, I ended that night in a cell. 40 hours of community work later I had finished my most costly dare. On a bus coming back from a field trip I was playing it with all chicks. One chick was dared to touch my pee-pee. I got a hand job to completion. I was dared to kiss a boy on his lips. I left and went home. Nudes, it wasn't it person. It could have probably turned into 7 minutes in the closet. I was a good boy and only went as far as walking into the 120-degree weather in a 6-layer hippie wizard costume to make the kindergarteners laugh at a summer camp carnival event. Wow, you guys must all be really hot to be invited to play these games. I asked a girl out over text, to which she said yes. Normally, this would be a good thing, but in this case, I didn't actually want to go out with her. Since me and my friends weren't that big of cunts, but were also retarded, we spent the rest of the entire night trying to figure out the best way to resolve the situation. I wish we came up with a solution that made for a better story, but we simply got our heads on right and I gently told her that I didn't actually want to date her. Me and my cousins were dared to cut off someone's electricity from some box outside. It made a loud sound, then their lights went out. Then someone came outside and started yelling, so naturally our dumbasses run through the rest of the houses to the other side of the trailer park. A few minutes later we heard sirens and seen red and blue flashing lights. We stayed at one of my cousin's friend's house for a few minutes until they left. Apparently that's illegal according to his friend, but I never looked into it. This is stupid. When I was 14, I was playing a game late one night about 2 a.m. on my cousin's porch. I refused to answer the tooth. The dare I got instead was I had to take an empty measuring cup across the street and ask the city's assistant chief of police for a cup of sugar. It sounds like no big deal, but when Mr. Ellis came to the door, mad as hell, my heart was racing. To his credit, the man actually filled my measuring cup full of sugar and told me to never ask him again. It was a shit thing to do. I still respect him for not flipping out on me to this day. I'm talking about it with a few people, but it never happened. Basically some friends and I were playing the game around midnight. The game was just dare and no hacking out, or you can give the dare to someone else but have to take their dare. A few rounds went by, some of us were dare to make out with each other or vape or rub your dick on something. This what people these years do for fun. Finally it was my turn and I was dare to prank call my parents that I broke my leg. It fucking end for me. BC my asshole friends made my parents come and pick me up. BTW we were playing at my friend's home. You all probs already guessed it. When they dared me to take a bath because apparently I stink. I was like, what? I took a shower a month ago. WTF. My girlfriend, now wife, ended up having a threesome with one of the other girls while people watched. Almost was a foursome, but the other girl chickened out. Let's just say that was the first of many threesomes we've had. If it wasn't in my family I could come out that I'm bisexual. I wouldn't tap out unless the dare was to be a nuisance to someone else or to air out someone's dirty laundry. Not my place, not my right. I was playing with a group of friends and by the time we were done playing, we ended out 10 gayer than we already were. NGL, never played a real game of truth or dare. I love seeing all the kidding stories, but my story is stuck a stick up my ass. This happened very recently, but one time I was drinking with a group of friends really late at night and this girl dared me to go pool hopping and jump in naked. No one thought I was about that action until they saw my twin jewels of May Thrillion dangling around as I hopped in the pool. I gave a lap dance to a fridge while being sober. I reached the ceiling back in 1643. Lie. Sucking dick in a guy. Not me, but my ex had damn near choked to death on a fun night all around. I woke up hungover AF and she was still pissed cause I was laughing too hard about her near-death experience that was easily preventable if she hadn't tried it in the first place. Got dared by friend to make out with her gay friend at the time. Best kiss I've had to this point even still. Dares escalated from there and the three of us went to the bedroom and I found out I was bisexual. It was fun of course, But sharing such a serious moment of discovery in my life with my friend actually ended up being incredibly intimate, and I'm glad it happened the way it did. New jumping jacks. Truth or dare? Truth, you ever seen someone die? I was the last one standing. Granted, I may have lost a few friends, but hey, a small price for salvation. What we do, and I was an idiot and always did dare cause I got money for it, and the dare I was given was to catch a wild pig and kill it. I was allowed at the time. We were on our friend's parents' private property. I was allowed a knife and 10 meters of rope, and what I did was set up a pit and a tripwire around an area, and I chased a pig to this spot and it jumped the thing and landed in the pit. Since I grew up hunting in junior military camps, I was pretty used to death. It had snapped its front legs and I slit its throat, got it, and then we ate it. Now I look back at that years later, that was really fucked up and I don't know why I did that. Ended up in a threesome. Tit grabbing. A girl said to touch and hold the nipple of a boy for 2 seconds, then a girl's boob for 1 second. Not me, but a friend. Playing truth or dare at a summer camp. He was watching a movie with his friends in a theater that had vending machines inside for some reason. He gave one of his friends a dime and told him to call as much attention to himself as possible trying to buy a drink with the dime. Dude ended up spending 20 minutes screaming he won't go in until the camp staff came over and tried to tell him that it isn't going to work. By this point no one was watching the movie. He kept going and eventually the staff had enough and took him to the office to teach him about how much money was worth. Guy said afterward they bought him a drink just to show him how the machine worked. Not me, but someone I know got to helicoptering across the hotel room with a rave light behind him, licking my friend's face while she was sleeping at a scout camp. It's how I got my first kiss back in 2003. Oh snap. Some dude spit in a shot glass with liquor inside, then I drank it. The game was an adult version of Truth or Dare. I'm not sure if there were cards involved or if it was an app. I played it in college 4 years ago. All I know is I won and everyone seemed to be a lot more grossed out than I was. Mixed off-brand orange soda and chocolate milk, then drank it. For reference, it immediately frothed and became semi-chalky, but I still drank it. Though now that I think about it, I don't know if Truth or Dare was involved, or if it was just a dare. Rolling around on the dirty classroom floor for about 5 minutes on the last day of school in 5th grade. During gym I was dared to wear my clothes upside down. They can see my underwear, and the good thing I didn't get caught, though. 2 years maybe I was playing in game of Truth or Dare. Our fantasy wasn't enough for it, or maybe we were afraid. The most interesting question was, do you want kiss someone? I said no. So it's not interesting. But question was how far? One time I was with a couple of friends near the parking lot of a grocery store, exchanging truths and dares. When it was my friend's turn to ask me for a dare, he was slightly stumped. There was a lady who was probably in her 70s walking out of the store, eating a frozen ice cream bar. She was pretty fat, it looked childish, and she had noticeably big hippo legs. Suddenly a car drove by, splashed some muddy water on her and drove off without acknowledging her. She even cried like a little kid, yet held on to her precious ice cream bar without even lowering it. That's when my friend finally came up with a dare. I was told to come up to her, lie about how we're going to pick her up in a few minutes, bring her home, and help clean her in any way. She just needs to sit on the bench and wait for us. I felt bad after that, and I know that's just low and not even very daring. But I never played this game a whole lot. A friend of mine was dared to lick my butt cheeks, then he said truth, then they said would you like to? I seriously got up, never talked to those people again. TLDR friend got dared to lick my butt cheek, got their ass naked while playing with 2 friends, one of the 2 I no longer talk to. I had the choice to either lick my friend's ass or lick the inside of his shoe. I'm just hoping that the pictures don't get leaked one day. I made a dare to a friend in a game by having him watch videos on Bestgar deep into the desert, with a shovel and a tarp. Truth isn't out there, son. It's dare country. Pressed a fire alarm at tennis camp when I was younger and everyone on the courts and in the main building had to evacuate. My punishment was oddly not that bad considering the reputation I had built up as a troublemaker at the time. An ice cream truck would come on Friday and I would start at the front of the line. Every time a kid stood behind me in line I had to go behind them and explain why. It sounds annoying when there's 100 kids of all different tennis groups, but I thought it was pretty funny at the time. We lit off a firework of my mate's mum balcony. Didn't think about how much smoke it would let off, but we basically smoked his mum's kitchen out. Not super exciting, but I have licked public outdoor garbage bins. On multiple occasions. I stopped when the idea of toe sucking was brought up. So, there is a dare to an attractive girl to kiss me on the cheek. She said I tasted like masculine wash. We were grade 4 at the time. She was my classmate for the next 2 years. I switched schools due to bullying calling me masculine wash. I did not even use Masu Klein wash. I was spectating a game of extreme truth or double dare. It ended when one of the guys got suspended for slapping the school mascot's head backwards at the football game. Game ended as soon as it started. I've shaved my head. Was a pretty lame dare if you ask me, because I walked around with a buzz cut as a child except when I forgot to get a haircut, and because I've been noticeably balding since roughly the time I had to shave my beard. I've also eaten cherry pie without using my hands, exactly as messy as it sounds, had an egg smashed over my head, and sung a love song badly to some girl that was also playing with us. When I was in the 7th grade, our class did a farewell meeting with our teacher. My class decided to play truth or dare. One girl told to one of the kids in my class, which is now one of my friends, kiss the teacher, so he told the teacher he needs to kiss her because of the game, and she allowed him. When he kissed her, all the girls started to be like, lol, he kissed the teacher. It gives me cringe only thinking about it. I have never really played truth or dare. I am 16 and never had a GF or kissed a girl. I was at a birthday party once with some friends, and from the beginning it was planned that we would play truth or dare. I kinda was the cool guy who had built an app previously just for that evening. This meant that I knew all the questions the host gave to me to put into the app. Just all of the people there wanted me and another guy to kiss, and we both knew that. And so my first dare on that evening was to make out with the person to my left. Guess who? That friend. I had no feelings for him, but I must admit that his was kinda cool. I also ended up making out with everyone else at that party. So basically, my person's kissed counter went up from 0 to 5 in one evening. And pissed on my friend. I was playing truth or dare with my friends, and after a bit of normal playing, one of my friends dared my other friends to tack a bag of ice cubes and put it in their underwear. When I was 15, me and GF were invited to a party. Me and GF were good friends with the host, so we and a few others stayed a while longer than others. We decided to play truth or dare, and I was up first. I was dared to let everyone tie me up, then do what they want for 5 minutes. Got my dick sucked by 3 girls. Best day ever. After school, me and a couple of friends would play truth or dare, and once a friend of mine was dared to have sex with his crush, and he accepted it, and he took his crush to the janitor's closet, and 9 months later I'm now a godfather of Chris and Kenny. I dared a friend to throw a rock at a bull's nuts. He hated them and we almost got rammed by the bull. Luckily it was tied down to a tree. I fucking made a complete nude statue of Helen Keller. I once was dared by a lesbian to fuck her. I was the first guy she wanted to try. She was in couple, but I don't really care cause I'm non-monogamous, and if she wants the D, she'll get the D. It was cool, not the best in my life though. Sorry for my basic English, I'm not a native speaker. I have AIDS now x200B. No I don't, I'm kidding, because of adrenaline. And the girl I was in there for about a minute by myself, and then another dude hopped in, and that was weird. Don't know what he was thinking, told him to get the fuck out. He was in board shorts but still, and then in the end did not get with that girl even though she said I had a good sized penis, but I did not pick up on the flirt. But I mean, I almost lost my virginity to another girl that night, but cock blocked by all my friends who thought it would be funny. But I was also super drunk and high, so it was a weird experience. Sorry, this is not a NSFW subreddit, so I can't say. Level 34. 10 minutes in heaven, or the time we did a striptease for whoever our GFBF was. Yeah, my friends are crazy, but it's called a college party.